There lived a family who had one shining hope, Oma, a brilliant young woman, the only educated person in her entire family. She had left the village years ago to study abroad and was well on her way to becoming a doctor, a dream that her single mother had nurtured for years. Oma's success was a source of pride, not just for her mother but for the whole village. However, not everyone was happy about her achievements. Oma's aunt, Afia, lived nearby with her two sons, Kojo and Kwame, who had earned bad reputations in the village. Kojo was an aimless drunkard, while Kwame was known as a thief, in and out of trouble. Afia often looked at Oma and her mother with jealousy, especially as her own sons showed no promise, while Oma was becoming the pride of the family. One year, during Oma's vacation from her studies abroad, her mother, Mo Ajoa, called her and told her not to come home. "My daughter, please stay where you are. Something doesn't sit right with me. There's a darkness in this village, and the witches here are jealous of you. Stay away for now." Oma chuckled at her mother's warning. "Mama, those are just superstitions. I'm coming home. There's nothing to worry about." Despite her mother's protest, Oma made her way back to her village in Ghana. She was excited to see her family, especially her mother, whom she hadn't seen in nearly a year. When Oma arrived, she was welcomed with open arms by most of the villagers. Her mother, though, remained on edge. The warmth of the village wasn't felt by all, especially by her aunt Afia, who quietly simmered with envy as she watched Oma being celebrated for her success. Afia had always resented Oma's education and her future as a doctor. She believed that her own sons should have had the opportunities that Oma had. How could she stand to see Oma succeed while her sons were failures in the eyes of the village? Afia's jealousy grew darker every day, until she could no longer bear it. She whispered to her sons about how unfair life had been to them, and they, too, began to harbor bitterness toward Oma. Slowly, Afia hatched a sinister plan to bring Oma's success to a tragic end. One evening, a week after Oma's return, her aunt Afia invited her for a family meal. "You are like my own daughter, Oma. I just want us to share a meal, like old times," Afia said, smiling sweetly, though her heart was filled with malice. Her sons, Kojo and Kwame, sat quietly in the corner, their faces blank. Oma, being kind-hearted, didn't suspect anything and accepted the invitation. She sat at the table, grateful for the food and the warmth of family. Little did she know that Afia had laced her food with a slow-acting poison. As Oma ate, Afia watched her with a wicked glint in her eye, knowing that the poison would take time but would eventually break Oma's body down. The next morning, Oma woke up with sharp pains in her stomach. She thought it was just a mild illness from travel, but the pain grew worse by the hour. Her mother, Mo Ajoa, rushed her to the local clinic, but the village doctor couldn't find the cause of her illness. Oma's condition worsened with every passing day. Weeks passed, and Oma became bedridden. Her once bright eyes dulled, her laughter turned to groans of pain. Mo Ajoa watched in horror as her daughter's health deteriorated. In her heart, she suspected something dark had happened, something unnatural. She remembered her warning to Oma about the jealousy and witches in the village, but it was too late. One night, as Oma lay weak and feverish, a village elder came to visit Mo Ajoa. "Your daughter has been cursed," the elder whispered. "There is evil in your family. Someone close to you has poisoned her out of jealousy." Mo Ajoa, heartbroken and furious, confronted Afia, her sister. At first, Afia denied everything, but the pressure from the village became too much. Eventually, Kojo and Kwame, guilt-ridden and terrified of the consequences, confessed. They revealed how their mother had poisoned Oma, hoping to destroy her future and prevent her from ever surpassing their family. The village was outraged. Afia and her sons were banished from the community, but it was too late for Oma. Though her life was saved by medical intervention, she never fully recovered from the effects of the poison. Her body was weakened, and her dreams of becoming a doctor slipped further away as her health declined. As Oma lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling of her mother's small home, she reflected on the cost of jealousy and the darkness that had nearly taken her life. She had always thought that education and success would shield her from the evils of the world, but she had learned the hard way that even the closest people to you could harbor dangerous envy.